Thanks for the support as a channel member, Chris Graves. It's playoff o'clock, everybody, and finally, now we're in the Football League, we've got something resembling some normal playoffs, which means episode lengths are no longer spoilers, because whatever happens, you're only getting the two legs of the playoff semi-final today, and then in the next episode, it will either be a transfer special or a playoff final. A spoiler-free playoffs. This is the things dreams are made of. Hello and welcome to part 72 of Bourne Again. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have the aforementioned two legs of the playoff semi-finals against Oxford. We ended up finishing third in the league, 82 points. Oxford finished sixth on 76 points. I haven't looked to see how their season's gone. Wowzers. They are clearly a team in form because they were having a terrible season early on. They're the form team, whereas we are the team that started well and then dropped off. I mean, to me, if I know anything about playoffs, and I think I do, Oxford are going to the playoff final, probably against Sunderland, because Charlton were the team that were top of the league early on and then fell apart. So I'm predicting now an Oxford-Sunderland final, but, you know, maybe, who is the... let's have a look at the actual form tables. League table, but we want it for last 5 games. So we're up there. Oxford, where are Oxford? Oh, Oxford just below us. Sunderland there and Charlton all the way down here. So Charlton are done, I would think. Sunderland are going to be one of the teams in the final against one of us or Oxford, because we're both in good form. This is going to be an interesting set of playoff semi-finals, and this is the team we're putting out there for the first of them, the away leg first. And we've got Hardy in goal, a back four of Barnes, Kitching, O'Driscoll and Ralston, Dean and Clark in midfield, Querrell, Palmer and Murray behind Pavlov up front. And I'm about to sneeze. I realise if I hadn't have told you I was about to sneeze in the middle of a sentence like that, I could have easily edited the sneeze out and nobody would have been any the wiser. But I always worry in big games of putting a cut just before the kickoff of a game, because I did it once in a big game. I guess I was cutting out a cough or something, and there was like 5 people who went, "Okay, if we saw the cut where you just played the game loads of times." If I was going to re-record a game, I'd re-record the whole game. I'm not that much of an idiot. I wouldn't do that either. But, you know, sheesh. I sneezed, okay? I'm allowed to sneeze. Right, go out there, pick up where you left off. We were good towards the end of the season. We were very good. So hopefully we can continue to be very good. I mean, we've just seen that of the 4 teams in the playoffs, we were the form team. We were very close to nabbing an automatic promotion spot. I think if there'd have been 24 teams in this division and we'd have had those final 2 games that we were robbed of, Querrell's put us 1-0 up, 11 minutes on the clock. There is no football ground behind that goal. It is just a brick wall and a car park, but who cares? Because, wow, the rest of the ground's big though. This is a nice, weird 3-sided stadium. Querrell with a lovely finish. He turns it on for the cameras. He is a big game player. We saw what he did in the FA Cup earlier in the season. We saw what he did on his debut earlier on in the season. It's a big game, so Querrell turns up. That is a very handy kind of player to have around. Now, what I was trying to say is that we're the form team of the 4 going into the playoffs, but I'd already showed you that in the little preview, so you don't need to see it again. Right, Hardy, rolling it out to O'Driscoll. Let's just not do anything stupid from here. Dean's already picked up a yellow card, which is a bit early for that kind of nonsense, but big game. Querrell is in again. Oh, my word. I thought he was going to score again. It was almost a carbon copy of what happened the first time. That looks like a fire station or something behind there, or a school. What's behind that goal? There's a bin next to that chair. I've never noticed bins in football grounds before. It looks like there's one of those places that does like caramel peanuts as well that you get scattered around the tourist attractions in London. There's one of them behind that goal. Well, right, Oxford attacking down our right-hand side. We need to get a tackle in here. We've missed that tackle, and that is an incredible goal. My word. Talk about getting yourself back into a tie. That's one of the best goals you'll ever see. They kind of deserve to go up now. This guy deserves to be playing in the Championship next year, that's for sure. That was ridiculous. We're going to scout him. Regardless of what happens, he needs a scout. I want players who can score goals like that in my team. O'Driscoll picks the ball up on the edge of the area, can't get the cross back over. Clark collects though, gives it to Ralston, and he plays it all the way back to Hardy. The safest move really. Everyone's out of position because we had that attacking free kick. Just give ourselves a little bit of time to regroup, which we've done. Plays it back out to O'Driscoll, and we rebuild our move. It's a strange highlight for us to have because nothing seems to be happening. Usually, this means a goal is a coming. Clark plays it back to O'Driscoll again, who again plays it aimlessly forward. He's got to pack that in. He's got Dean and Clark ahead of him, who both have excellent distribution skills. Just roll it gently to one of them and let them do the big pass. Yee, Oxford in again there. This time the header just over. They're up for this, aren't they? They're quite a good team who look like they're playing in front of a lot of people as well. I'm already thinking if we can just keep things close in this first leg, back at our place, it's going to be a very different atmosphere with just fans behind that one goal. They're not going to have the edge that they've got here tonight. Querol's in again, though. Big game Querol this time again. Shoots straight at the keeper, though. Would have been nice for him to just slot that into the path of Pavlov, who was in position to tuck away the goal, but it wasn't to be. Hardy just before half-time now. We've got about a minute left of this half. O'Driscoll this time actually finds a Bourne player, which is a nice little novelty based on how he's played so far. Ralston plays it into Clark. Clark to Palmer. Palmer's got options. He's choosing Querol, which was probably the hardest of the options, and it was a poor pass that was very difficult to control, and it's put us under huge pressure, but luckily the shot goes wide when really that's the best chance Oxford have had in that entire first half. Right, we need to shake things up a bit. Oh, mind you, it's saying do the underdog thing. We're always good with the underdog thing. Let's give the fans a good performance despite being against the odds here. Why not go underdog? If in doubt, underdog. It worked in that FA Cup run, and hopefully it works again here. Although it is a little bit weird halfway through the game deciding to change to being underdogs. Right, cross comes in. Pavlov and Murray. Murray's playing today, isn't he? Not O'Brien. Pavlov and Murray were in the middle there. Barnes is trying again. This time finds Palmer. It's down to Pavlov! His 13th goal of the season. He gets so much stick down in the comments section. But 13 goals at 21, 22 years old in your first season in League One, first season in the country, is not a bad goal return at all. And just like with Querol, when it really, really matters, Pavlov has stepped up and grabbed us a goal. It's 2-1 to Bourne just after half-time, and it's got to say, it feels a little against the run of play. Although we've dominated possession, there just seems to be so much momentum with Oxford. I'm glad I'm playing with the sound off, because it feels like it would be deafening in here. Oxford really, really want to get up into the Championship, but not as much as we do. Our financial survival depends on it. O'Brien coming on for Murray on that right-hand side. We're also going to bring Mark Sheffel on for Barnes. That will do for now. I haven't actually looked what the attendance is. 12,000 people here. Only 83 of them coming with us from Bourne. I imagine we're all sat in that little caravan doing burgers back there. There's no one manning that. You could get some free caramel peanuts if you get behind that goal and play your cards right. Right, O'Driscoll again, lumping it forward. This time actually finds Pavlov, who nods down to O'Brien. Palmer is there, plays it into Clark. This is a nice move taking shape here. Mark Sheffel, can he keep it in? He can. He crosses it as well. O'Brien's there, and that just brushes off the top of the crossbar. A third goal there. And we are in crazy town. As it is, it's the top of the crossbar, and now it's Oxford attacking again. It's very much end-to-end, proper playoff game stuff. I said this was going to be a good tie, and Ralston has just done, I mean, that's insane. And I feel like he's got previous for doing that as well. He cannot cope with big games. He's like the opposite of Querol. Right, we've got Dodd on the bench. He's going to have to come on for Palmer. I think that's the only change we can make here. And just leave it as that. Ralston has left us in a huge amount of trouble. He's not getting his contract renewed this summer. He's on a lot of money. He's old and he does stupid stuff like that. So I don't care how good he is at some of the other stuff. We need players who perform under pressure rather than crumbling under pressure. And the amount of times in big games my teams go down to 10 men, it's becoming a worrying pattern. I think I signed the wrong kinds of players. I need to focus more on players who aren't insane. But with all that going on, the remaining 10 players are doing an excellent job of keeping us in this. Some very, very last-ditch defending there. And I think that might be enough for us to come away with an absolute mugging of a win. We're 4-2 down on clear-cut chances, but 2-1 up on actual goals, which is where it matters. And that should be that, because there we go. We have hit full time. He's the guy that I want to just do a little bit of scouting on, just to see if he's... I mean, we should be safe to click on him now. 23-year-old Senegalese winger. I mean, he'd look nice. He'd look nice on the wing with Querol on the other side. People had written us off today. That was an excellent result. 2-1 up on the first leg, bringing them back to our place to play in a very different atmosphere. Charlton, true to form, proving me an absolute idiot. Sunderland have got it all to do in their second leg. But to be fair, based on current form, if I had to choose, I'm choosing us to play Charlton in the final, because if you trace the season all the way back to when it stopped being awful, it all kicked off with a Charlton win, I think, or I might be misremembering, because we actually lost to Charlton there. Was there another time when we recovered with it? There you go. We were in this terrible, terrible run of form. Then we had the Southampton game. Then we beat top of the table Charlton in the league. And from then on, the season turned around. So I'd happily play Charlton, please and thank you. Although I'd also happily play Sunderland, because we played them even more recently. I tell you what, shall we? Why am I trying to leave the game? I was like, right, forget that. Let's leave the game. I think we should probably focus on getting to the final first. So just the one change for the second leg then. Dodd comes in for the, of course, suspended Ralston, who is it a one-match suspension? It is just a one-match suspension. So maybe he doesn't have previous for crazy red cards. No, it is the only one he's had. He must have done something else stupid at some point. I'm sure I remember him doing something stupid. But hopefully we are going to be packing out Abbey Lawn for this second leg. It's potentially our last ever game at Abbey Lawn. If we get promoted, I am like 95% sure we're going to have to do a ground share in the Championship. I don't think we'll be able to get into the Championship with this ground. So... right, let's not get complacent. So potentially for the final time at Abbey Lawn, with nobody on the three sides of terraces and probably just Oxford fans behind the goal, let's hope we've filled the place, and as much as we can, and let's hope for a big performance and a trip to Wembley. Clark charging down this right-hand side and shoots when he probably should have been looking to square it to one of the players inside of him there, because as good of a season as he's had, his goals don't tend to be from that kind of position. But he could have slotted Pavlov in. He could have slotted Querol in. There were options ahead of him. Palmer was up there as well. I'm so excited I'm losing the ability to speak, apparently. What a save from Hardy. He was obviously one of the main heroes of the cup run that we had earlier in the year. And surely he's got to be a shout for signing of the season, Hardy, hasn't he? Coming in on a free transfer. And he's just made an absolutely outstanding save again there to keep us ahead in this tie. 2-1 from the first leg. Approaching the half-hour mark, it's still 0-0. Their player, who we already identified as good and scouted from the first game, looks shattered. I think we've broken him, which is perfect, really. We don't want him playing as well as he did. I mean, I don't remember him doing anything other than the goal, but and there you go. They've had to take him off. Magical situation. He's picked up an injury because he wants to come and play for Bourne. They've lost their best player. I don't know that he is their best player, but we all remember the goal. It's important now more than ever to be completely focused. Make sure we see this tie out with the lead intact. Dodd is stressed out by that. As long as he doesn't do what the player he's in the team replacing did as a way of getting his stress out of his body, let's kick an Oxford player. That's not the right thing to do in these circumstances. What would be the right thing to do is to have big game Querol step up and just grab a nerve-easing goal. We haven't actually filled the ground tonight. 3,139. Our current capacity is 4,300. There's 1,000 Oxford fans here. So at least we do more than double the opposition for once. So we should be out singing them. But it is just a little bit weird that we're all crammed into that 800-seat stand behind the goal. Cross came in, couldn't quite get to Querol. Palmer with the shot from the edge of the area. And it goes just over. It looks like everyone's mixed together in there as well. There's lots of yellow shirts mixed in with claret shirts, which is... is it claret? Red? It's not red, is it? It's got to be claret, I think. Right. Right. Barry coming off for O'Brien. Easy change to make. He's Goddard on the bench. Of course he's not. Terry Broadbent is, though, which means we can stick Clark up in that position and get Mr. Bourne on in central midfield when we really need him. We're also going to ask for a little bit of creativity, because although we are probably more interested in not conceding at this point, the best way to guarantee Wembley right now is to go and grab ourselves a goal. Pavlov hasn't turned up. So Scargill's going to come on for him for the last 10 minutes, and we're going to have 10 minutes of passion because they're fired up, so we've got to fire ourselves up too. If it stays like this, we're happy. If Oxford score now, it's going to knock the stuffing out of us and they'll go through, I think. I don't think we could cope with extra time. We didn't need extra time. We've done it we've done it the most Kev way possible. We have made it to Wembley, though, and now we just need to find out who we're playing. It is Charlton in the final. So some might say the opposite of the final I predicted. But Bourne versus Charlton, we've both beaten each other over the course of this season, and now it just comes down to who wants it more in that final, which is we've got a good couple of weeks wait before the final actually happens. But if we go back to the league table again and just do this for both of us, you can see, yeah, we had a little bit of a drop down and then came back with a win over Charlton. But that win that we had over Charlton started their season going completely off the rails. They were in the top two from the third game all the way through until 2 games from the end of the season, and then just plummeted down to fifth, only just sort of staying in the playoffs. So their form is rotten, but they have just made it past Sunderland. Anything could happen, and that's going to be Sunday's episode. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos, and thank you very much for watching.